If you run a service-based agency, here are 6 Claude Code skills that are going to save you a ton of time, help you find new customers, and keep your customers super happy. If you're new here, my name is Brock. I scaled an agency to 30 million spend under management, had it acquired in 2024, spent some time building software, and now I'm just down the AI rabbit hole of building tools. So everything I create, I share here. Let's get into it. So the first tool is a lead generation tool. What I'm looking at is Claude Code inside of the anti-gravity terminal. If you're not familiar with this view, there's a ton of videos out there on YouTube, so I'll just let you find it on your own and figure out how to set up this terminal. But for everybody who knows how this works, I'm going to show you the lead generation tool in action. So generate me a list of 50 e-commerce brands making between $1 to $5 million per year on Shopify in the United States, preferably in the home decor niche. The tool I used there was called Super Whisper. If you haven't seen it before, it's very cool. So now this is going to build me out this list, and then it will automatically deploy it inside of Notion. Now, I did this previously before I recorded this video, and here's a list of 1,000 agencies that I want to contact for essentially automation services. Now we can see our tool is actually actively running here, so it's adding more people. I have website. I do have email address over here, but I've hidden it just for the purposes of this video. But this tool is really excellent. Now, the out-of-the-box version of Claude is not going to do this for you automatically, but I do have this tool automatically saved. So if you download my Notion template, you can just import this tool, and that way you don't need to figure out or tell Claude how to actually scrape this, how to use Phantom Buster and like all these other fancy tools to actually generate leads. You'll have it automatically just by accessing this tool. So everything that I'm building here is linked below. And then I'll just go to bypass permissions once this loads up. Yeah, there we go. And now it's just gonna run automatically. It's gonna generate the leads for me and then port it over to Notion. I'll show you the Notion export in later on in this video. The second skill here is the pre-audit, and I kind of think of this as a replacement for a classic proposal. So I have this at the bottom of a website here where a brand just enters their email, they choose what their monthly ad spend is, and then they click get their free audit. And then this is essentially what happens on the back end. So we have a rules, a workflow, and an agent, and what it's telling it to do is first to enrich the data. So it's going to find their meta ads library, it's going to scroll through their website, find any conversion rate issues, see what ads they're running, analyze the creative. It's going to look up their SEO presence on Google. So a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not too familiar with how the technical background works because I don't have to be since I'm using Claude, but the output is going to look something like this. So this is one that I actually ran for a real brand. It shows you a market snapshot, just sort of how they're sitting against their competitors. We have some clear pain points, goes through the competitive landscape, and then areas of opportunity. So this is just a TLDR section at the top. Then it goes down to the Meta Ads library audit. So it, like I said, it analyzes all of the creatives that they're running inside of Meta, and then it gives us a format mix, and then what's missing. So we're missing the urgency hook, problem CTA, price anchors, UGC, all that sort of stuff. Next, it goes to the product review page, CTA, quick wins that we can implement immediately with high, medium, and low priority catalogs here. And then we have a creative testing roadmap. So based on everything that's working for them, these are the creatives that we suggest that they run. And then next we have what a full engagement looks like with a link to book a strategy call with me. So like I said, I think that this is a replacement for the classic proposal because it just gives the prospect so much more information and it shows them a small little window into what you would be capable of doing if you were to enter into a full engagement. And all of this information happens automatically by simply submitting the prospect's email. So this one I think is really useful. And then when you get them on the call, it's just a starting place to have a conversation rather than just a canned rinse and repeat PDF proposal that every other agency is going to send. The third skill that I really love is the onboarding flow. So you can see what this looks like here on the side. So I have a mapping field. We have CRM scan, contract, invoice, email, all these sorts of things. So traditionally, the way that I used to have the setup was done inside of Zapier. So the customer would sign a contract and then we would send them the invoice. But then from there, we had to do all the work manually. So what we have now, we still have that contract in place. I blanked out some of the information, but you get the idea. So we just have a super simple contract here. Once it's signed and initialized inside of Google Docs, it will automatically send a Stripe invoice to the customer. It will move them from onboarding into closed in our Notion CRM, which I'll show you afterwards. And then it creates workflow tasks for the team, and we prioritize AI first. So things like building a campaign structure, collecting information from their Google Drive, collecting their copy, basically all their assets and loading it into Ads Manager is done autonomously using AI, and then the deployment is done autonomously inside of Manus. So the goal here is to just eliminate the human touch points, especially on the onboarding flow, because the traditional experience of an agency is the customer closes, they sign with you, and then you have to respond back to them and say, hey, so great, happy to have you. We're working on this onboarding asset now, blah, blah, blah. And then you tell them what the next steps are. Whereas now, all of the onboarding and intake is done automatically. The initial campaign build and structure is done, and then you have something to present to them afterwards. And all of this can be included in a reporting dashboard. This brings me to skill 4, which is your client dashboard, which is the most impressive looking thing and probably the easiest to generate. It's actually very simple. You can ask Claude to just generate a brand guideline for you, or even just copy paste in your website and say, follow this brand guideline and create a reporting dashboard for me. And this is what it's going to give you. So this is sample data. Don't get too excited, but this is exactly what it looks like inside of the account. So our clients can log in, they can look at their Meta performance, Google performance, Klaviyo, Shopify, CRO issues, like basically everything that you would need. And it shows you the total spend, how it trends against their pacing, so the budget that they have allocated every month. And you can customize this to be the exact type of service that you deliver. But again, this is super easy to generate. It's just HTML, so it's literally just text and colors all coded on the back end. And you can deploy it in one click to a platform called Vercel. I'll probably make a whole other video about that, but it's very easy, and then your clients can log in and they can view all their performance. And this, to me, is a sticking point, and it's normally the missing piece that a lot of agencies don't have. They'll build reporting dashboards in Google Sheets, or they'll use reporting softwares like DashThis or Agency Analytics. Trust me, I've used every single one of them, and honestly, just building your own in Claude now is probably a lot easier than paying these absurd subscriptions for reporting dashboards that you can generate with a couple prompts inside of a few hours. So highly recommend creating a reporting dashboard. And again, the skill exists in the link in the description. So you can just copy paste it and you can have the entire thing for free. Skill number 5 is how to deploy things live on the web so the entire world can see it. And this one is really what's gonna bring your brand together and give your clients a dashboard that they can see and log into, and give your team a cohesive feel where they can, build proposals and generate audits and all the good stuff that we've done so far in this video. So the tool I wanna mention here is called Vercel. This is my Vercel account, and I can literally deploy anything just by saying deploy. Take a look at anti-gravity here. I said deploy the dashboard, right? So the dashboard that I just showed you earlier in the video is now deployed on Vercel. So anybody can access it, anybody can log in. It's live for the web. By the time you're watching this video, this URL will have changed. But you'll get the idea. You can just log into a live dashboard. And then this is my Vercel account. So I've deployed everything from websites to proposals to lead magnets. Literally the entire thing is deployed inside of Vercel. This is probably going to be the Webflow, Squarespace, and Wix killer, because there's no hosting cost. You literally just snap your fingers, tell Claude Code to deploy, and it happens automatically. And the loading speed is way faster. There's a whole set of features as to why this is so beneficial that I'm not going to go over. But this one is super critical. It's very easy to get as well. You just go to Vercel NCP server, install Claude Code. Pull this up, should be right here. Yep. There we go. Just jump in. Here's the MCP server right there. MCP is basically the public access point that you can access from anti-gravity. So super, super useful. Definitely recommend downloading this. It's going to make your proposals way easier. It's going to make everything way more beautiful and presentable to your clients. Skill number 6 is the Notion MCP server. This could work for ClickUp, HubSpot, but really any project management tool. And the reason this is so important is because if you just look at my file folders here, and of everything I've made, it gets really convoluted after a while. You'd be surprised how quickly this adds up. I've been using Claude pretty consistently on a daily basis for about 2 months. And with only 2 months worth of stuff, or worth of prompting, you get these massive files. So really the question is, how do you know what to extract and what prompts you actually have, so that you know what you've built and you don't just forget stuff? Otherwise you'll end up with this really large folder that pretty much doesn't do anything for you. So I use Notion to host everything. This is basically the brain of my entire operation. And inside of it, I have all of my prompts. So these are the things that I've built that I can tell Claude to do. So if I forget, I could say, run a 24-hour strategy pipeline. This is in my onboarding stage. Or if I have something for fulfillment, route creative to production. So this would just be like, deploy this to Meta, essentially. Or for reporting, create a weekly report, right? All of these skills that I might forget about or get lost just in this massive file folder over time are added here. And we can do a whole bunch of stuff. So all of my website submissions, client reporting, performance reporting, copy, personas, like all the good stuff that you would really want. All of my YouTube ideas and content ideas get sourced here. So this should really be the brain of your operation, so that you're not always looking at this massive terminal and wondering what to ask it to do. That way you have it centralized in one location. So that one has been super useful. And as promised, all of this information is free in the link below. So if you'd like access to the lead generation tool to get thousands of leads for your agency, the pre-audit generator to replace your proposals and seriously impress clients before you get on a call with them, the onboarding tool that automates everything from invoicing, payment collecting, emailing your customers, even deploying your ad creatives autonomously autonomously, the client and reporting dashboard, the prompt to automatically deploy the dashboard to Vercel, and how to set up Notion as your command center. Just click the link below. It's entirely free. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.